November 22nd, 1991. A Friday evening, a brief written statement was released to the British press. The statement read as follows. Following intense speculation in the press, I wish to confirm that I have tested positive for HIV and have AIDS. I thought it best to keep this information private to protect the privacy of those around me. However, the time has now come for my friends and fans around the world to learn the truth. I hope everyone will join me, my doctors, and people all over the world in the fight against this terrible disease. 24 hours later, Freddie Mercury had passed away. 24 hours. He gave the world just one day to come to terms with the truth he had quietly carried within him for 4 years. A single day between the truth and the end. This is not a confession. This is the story of a man who controlled every aspect of his life, including exactly how much of himself the world was allowed to see. The concealment didn't begin with the diagnosis. It began the day he was born, because Freddie Mercury spent his entire life trying to be someone else. And by the time the world fell in love with him, the real person beneath it all had long since vanished. Let's begin Mercury's story, the story of the great legend. His name wasn't Freddie, it wasn't Mercury either. His name was Farrokh Bulsara. He was born on September 5th, 1946, on the island of Zanzibar, a small British protectorate off the coast of East Africa. His parents, Bohemian and Bulsara, were Parsis, an ethnic group with roots in ancient Persia. They practiced Zoroastrianism, one of the world's oldest religions. His father worked as a cashier for the British Colonial Office. The man who would become history's most flamboyant rock star, adorned on stage with rhinestones, leather, a crown, and a cape, began his life as a quiet Parsi child on a small African island, alongside a father who worked for the colonial government. It is nearly impossible to measure the distance between these two realities. When Farrokh was 8 years old, his parents made a decision they believed was best for him. They sent him far away, across the ocean to India, to St. Peter's School, a British-style boarding school in Panchgani, about 50 miles outside of Bombay. He was 8 years old, and he was all alone. I don't know about you, but I can't even imagine being sent to another continent at the age of 8, far from your parents, your home, and everything familiar. Being thrown into a system you couldn't quite fit into, neither fully Indian, nor fully African, nor fully English. Just a child stuck between 3 worlds, belonging to none of them. But something happened at that school. Actually, 2 things. First, his classmates started calling him Freddie, not Farrokh. Freddie. It was easier, more English, less foreign, and he went along with it. His family eventually embraced the name too. Second, he discovered music. Piano lessons at age 7, choir, school plays, and at age 12 he formed his first band, the Hectics, a group of school kids playing rock and roller covers at school events. He played the piano. In 1963, at the age of 16, Farrokh returned to Zanzibar to be with his family. He stayed at home for a year. Then, on January 12, 1964, the Zanzibar Revolution broke out. Thousands of people were in danger. The Bulsara family, a Parsi minority of Indian origin, was precisely the kind of people who were in danger. They fled with almost nothing. Farrokh Bulsara arrived in England at the age of 17, not as an immigrant chasing a dream, but as a refugee struggling to survive. I think people forget this fact, or maybe they never knew it in the first place. One of the 20th century's most iconic British rock stars was a refugee. He was a displaced child who arrived from Zanzibar with an accent no one understood and a name no one could pronounce, and set foot in the cold grey Middlesex. And from that starting point, that unique sense of loneliness, he built everything. Freddie enrolled at Ealing College of Art in West London. He studied graphic design. He was talented in that field. But was that really the career he wanted? We'll never know. Afterward, he met 2 people who would change everything. Brian May, a quiet, brilliant guitarist who built his own electric guitar from a Victorian-era fireplace, and Roger Taylor, a drummer who looked like a rock star and had the temperament to match. They had formed a band called Smile. Freddie watched their performance and declared that he should be their lead singer. Here's a detail I really love. In an interview, Brian May said that when Freddie first auditioned, his voice was raw and not yet fully developed. But his movements, the way he commanded the stage, the way he drew attention to himself, all of that was undeniable. He didn't have that voice yet, but he had a presence on stage. The voice would come with time, and it did. As a lead vocalist, her voice was powerful enough to captivate everyone. In 1970, Smile became Queen. And around the same time, Farrokh Bulsara officially became Freddie Mercury. Name changes aren't uncommon in the world of rock, but this one was different. He didn't just change his stage name, he changed his last name too. Bulsara was gone, Mercury was here. Fast, elusive, always on the move. And there's a deeper meaning to it. Mercury is a liquid metal. It looks solid, but you can never hold on to it. The moment you try to catch it, it slips through your fingers. I don't think he chose this name by chance. I believe that on some level, whether consciously or not, he was telling the world exactly what he was going to do. You'll see me, you'll hear me, but you'll never be able to hold on to me. You'll never fully know who I am. And from that moment on, the construction began, layer by layer. The teeth that bothered him, hidden behind a mustache and a deliberate stage persona. His shyness, buried beneath fake diamonds, leather, and white satin. His accent, softened, anglicized, perfected. Freddie Mercury wasn't a person. He was a performance. The greatest, most dedicated, most dazzling performance in the history of rock music. And beneath it all, Farrokh Bulsara was still sitting in a boarding school in India, wondering why his parents had sent him there. I'd like to ask you about one of the most debated topics here. Could Freddie Mercury have become this famous on his own? Or could May, Taylor and Deacon have become this famous with a different lead singer? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Let's continue.
Welcome to Chapter 3, The Crown. Are you ready to see it all unfold?
Bohemian Rhapsody. It was actually a song that wasn't supposed to be a hit. It's 6 minutes long. There's an opera section in the middle. There's no chorus. There are many tempo changes. The record label told them it would be commercial suicide. No radio station would play a 6-minute song with no catchy hook. According to the story, Freddie looked at them and said, "Release the song or I'll take it to another record label." The song rose to number 1, and it stayed there for 9 weeks. From 1975 through the mid-1980s, Queen became one of the world's greatest bands. We will rock you. We are the champions. Somebody to love. Don't Stop Me Now. Every song was designed to be sung by the crowds filling the stadiums, and right in the middle of every stadium, there was this small mustached man from Zanzibar with a broken family and a secret name who could control 80,000 people with a single hand gesture. And then came Live Aid. July 13th, 1985, Wembley Stadium, 72,000 people in the venue. 1.9 billion people are watching on television worldwide. All the world's biggest artists were taking the stage one after another, and Queen was given 20 minutes. In those 20 minutes, they could be just one of 20 bands, or the only one everyone remembers. If you have not yet viewed that performance, and I mean truly watched it, not merely the clips, please pause this video immediately and go watch it. I'm serious. It's on YouTube. 20 minutes. Then come back. A YouTuber tells viewers to pause the video and go watch that 20-minute segment. Freddie Mercury's performance at Live Aid was more than just a concert. It was a remarkable display of the human-crowd connection. It was the most incredible display of the human-crowd connection ever captured on camera. Call and response, vocal interplay. He made 72,000 people play together as if they were a single instrument. Every musician backstage that day, Elton John, David Bowie and Mick Jagger, all said the same thing afterward. No one could take the stage after that. At Live Aid, things were already going wrong. Those backstage had noticed the changes in Freddie. A doctor who briefly examined him was concerned. The symptoms were there in the summer of 1985, more than a year after his last concert and 2 years before his official diagnosis. Time had already begun to run out, and the most magnificent performance of his life may have taken place just as his body was beginning to betray him. August 9th, 1986, Knebworth Park. The final concert of Queen's Magic Tour took place at Knebworth Park, attended by 120,000 people. No one recorded the concert properly. There is no official video of Freddie Mercury's final concert. The world's greatest band, 120,000 fans, and it didn't occur to anyone to press the record button because no one knew it would be the last one. But Freddie might have known. 2 weeks earlier, in Budapest, he reportedly made a comment to a crew member. It went something like this: "I won't be doing this forever. I won't always be here to do this." The crew member didn't think much of it at the time. Why would they? Freddie Mercury was invincible. Freddie Mercury would be touring forever. That was the assumption. The assumption was wrong. In the spring of 1987, Freddie Mercury was officially diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. And at that moment, rock music's most famous figure made the most private decision of his life. He told almost no one. He told his closest circle, Mary Austin, Jim Hutton, Peter Freestone, and eventually the band, about it. He asked them all to keep it a secret, and they did, for 4 years. I keep coming back to that decision, because in the late 1980s, an AIDS diagnosis wasn't just a medical decision, it was a social death sentence. The stigma at that time was unimaginable by today's standards. People were getting fired from their jobs, evicted from their homes, and abandoned by their families. And Freddie Mercury, already the target of tabloid speculation about his private life, chose to face the scrutiny alone rather than become a symbol of something the world wasn't yet ready to understand. At the heart of this story is a woman whom most people overlook. Her name is Mary Austin. Freddie met Mary in 1970. They were together for 6 years. He called her the love of his life, and he meant it sincerely, even after their romantic relationship had ended. Even as he took his last breath, he was thinking of her. Mary was the person he trusted more than anyone else in the world. He left her his home, Garden Lodge in Kensington, as an inheritance. He bequeathed to her the rights to a large portion of his estate, and he told her, and only her, where his ashes were to be scattered. To this day, only Mary Austin knows where Freddie Mercury's ashes are. This secret has been kept for over 30 years. I find this extraordinary. In a world where everything is leaked, everything is sold, and everything becomes content, a single woman has kept a deceased man's final wish secret for 30 years. This isn't just loyalty. It's a love that outlasts everything, even death. Isn't that what true love is? Let me know in the comments. After his diagnosis, Freddie didn't stop working. He went to the studio. He recorded. He endured physical pain that most people couldn't even imagine. The album Innuendo, released in 1991, was recorded during a time when Freddie was struggling to even stand for long periods. Brian May recounts that Freddie came into the studio and said, "Write me something, I'll sing it." And he did. He sang until his body would no longer allow it. Every note recorded during those final sessions came from a man fighting for every breath. If you listen to the song "The Show Must Go On," knowing the truth that the voice you hear belongs to someone who could barely walk to the microphone, takes on an entirely different meaning. His final music video, "These Are the Days of Our Lives," was filmed in May 1991. Freddie had visibly wasted away. His face was haggard, but he took the stage. He smiled, and in the final frame, looking directly into the camera, he murmured these words, "I still love you." No one knew who he was saying the words to. Maybe Mary, maybe Jim, maybe the audience, maybe himself, maybe all of them. He was saying goodbye, and most people didn't realize it until much later. November 22nd, 1991. A Friday, the statement was released. After 4 years of silence, 4 years of hiding, and 4 years of watching his body change in ways he couldn't control, Freddie Mercury came out to the world. But he didn't give the world time to react. He didn't give the press time to turn it into a circus. He didn't give anyone the chance to write his story for him. He released the statement on Friday evening. By Sunday morning, he was gone. November 24th, 1991. Garden Lodge, Kensington, London. Freddie Mercury passed away. He was 45 years old. In his final days, he had made a decision. He stopped taking all his medication. He knew what was coming and chose to face it on his own terms. The people he loved, Mary, Jim, Peter, and his cats, were there. They took turns caring for him in 12-hour shifts. The house was quiet. The man who had filled stadiums with his voice spent his final hours in silence. His funeral took place as a small private ceremony. Zoroastrian rites were performed, the faith of his childhood, the faith of Farrokh Bulsara, not that of Freddie Mercury. In death, the first identity he had spent 30 years trying to bury returned, the religion practiced by his family in Zanzibar. Prayers were recited in a language most of his fans had never heard. The child beneath the crown was laid to rest by the very traditions he had fled. Freddie Mercury controlled everything. His music, his image, the show, his secret, and his departure. Even in death, he decided what the world would learn and when. This story is not a tragedy. This is the most typical Freddie Mercury move that he ever made. The show is over, no encore. But somewhere, and only one person knows where, Farrokh Bulsara has finally found peace. If this story stuck with you, If it made you think about the people in your life who always say, "I'm fine," subscribe. Every week we take an in-depth look, real investigations, real stories, the silence behind the music. I'm the voice behind No Encore. See you in the next episode.